Hey modders, welcome back to ModifedRoll. Don't forget we're sponsored by DM Dice. Check out the link to their website in our description, or head over to dmdice.co.uk and use the code ModifedRoll for 10% off all purchases. In the previous episode, the party were taking the time to relax. They hit the local tavern and decided to have a bit of fun. They get to know some of the local guards a bit better and settle in for a night of laughs and enjoyment. We rejoin them now in the midst of an arm wrestling competition. In this, episode 13 of season 2 of ModifedRoll, the Macaroni.
I want to have a go at an arm wrestle.
Who are you? Sinclair, the dwarf,
with
the
Sinclair.
Oh.
Finger crossbows.
Is this where you stab him in the leg under the table so that you win?
I would
Sinclair
never.
Will make the biggest funk as he puts his massive arm down on the table. Ooh, which arm is he
you guys
using,
can
actually?
straight up athletics check.
Although
I will say actually,
Out of just for those who, because I haven't mentioned this with him because he's probably wearing some sort of shirt with his arms out. You'll have noticed he puts his arm on the table. It's actually like the scar on his face. His arm is also very scarred. Just for everyone's information.
Okay.
I will say as well, actually, Giuliana, if you want to try and obviously arm wrestling, a lot of it is strength, but a lot of it's also how you move your arm. There are ways that even someone with very little upper body strength can win an arm wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you roll sleight of hand if you like.
Yes.
And also,
Just to try and make this fair.
Whilst I'm watching, I'm gonna, you can do it, Giuliana, and tap her on the shoulder and cast guidance. So you can have a D4.
What do I get? A D4?
D4, yeah.
Okay, let me find my D4.
I'm ready.
I don't know
ready.
Giuliana's rolled pretty well, it looks like.
Oh my god.
I got unfortunate news though.
Oh no.
I can crit.
Oh.
I rolled a natural 20. That brings it up to 24.
I got 26.
Oh!
Ooh, that's a heated match.
No, here's the thing. I only, like I've said before, I only do, natural 20s are only a guaranteed success in combat. Outside of combat, you get something pretty cool for it, but it's not guaranteed. In this case, point in fact. So, there's a little thing, I don't know how, true this is when you're, talking, sleight of build versus massive build, but, there is a thing in arm wrestling where if you, if you pull, you guys can see it on the camera, but see if you, pull your wrist back like this, it, forces their arm into a position where they can't, use the strength optimally. Giuliana, from your, nights carousing back in Theraseed, you've done this a few times with some very buff dudes, you've learned the tricks. So you set it up, you get your arm in a position where you've minimized Sinclair's strength. You also know about certain pressure points in his hand. So right as you start to pull, you just pressed a couple of your fingers into one of the pressure points in his arm. And again, Sinclair, where you normally are very confident in this, and you set up and you've got the perfect positioning. But then Giuliana does this thing with her wrist and it pulls your hand into it almost forces the opposition. For anyone at home who can only hear this, I'm essentially putting my hand out as if I'm holding something palm up. The way Giuliana's holding your hand almost forces your hand into that position, and you can't get as much strength because she's almost pulling your wrist down instead of your arm. But you're in the perfect position otherwise, and you start off and there's no movement at all. And then after a couple of seconds, you guys actually hear the table starts to creak under the weight of Sinclair's force as he's leaning into this. But Giuliana, you're putting this pressure on, you're holding his hand in such a way, he cannot overcome this position. And eventually, Sinclair, you start to tire yourself out. Arm wrestling is not a fucking marathon, it's a sprint. And you start to feel your arm getting very tired. And Giuliana's, you're using minimal strength to do this. You've got his hand in a position, you're just holding it. And eventually, you start to push and push and push. And Sinclair, you feel yours going over and over and over until eventually, it's not like when you beat the dwarf and it was thump, it's just touches to the table. But it touches, and Giuliana wins.
Come on, next round. Next round is me.
Sinclair is just going to stare, wide-eyed. That's funny. That's funny because he doesn't actually have any pupils. But yeah, he's just going to stare off into the distance, sort of away from the table, and he's going to go, "We should do that in every tavern. That was good fun."
I agree.
Twilight's losing her shit. Twilight's like, that gif of the girl with the birthday cake where she like throws it on the floor and is like
Screaming.
That's
Well, who be it then, Cazizal? The reigning champion, or do you want to fight the loser?
I'll go against the reigning champion, of course.
Bring it on, Cecil.
Okay, I'll let you make the same choice, Cecil. You can either do athletics or sleight of hand. I'm going to assume Gilliana's going to keep doing sleight of hand.
I
It
will
seems
be.
to be working.
I'm going to go sleight of hand as well, as I'm on.
Cool.
21.
Ooh.
24.
So this time, both of you, because again, because you're a monk, you saw what Gilliana did, and you're like, this doesn't have to be a contest of strength. And you set up to do the very similar things that she did. Again, you've watched what she did, you're trying to emulate, much like you're doing with the dance moves. But
Much like what I did with the beheading earlier as well.
true, exactly. You watched Gilliana behead a hyena, you beheaded a hyena.
Sort of.
Circle of
Had to.
life. Yeah, tried to. But much like the dancing, you've seen it, but you don't have the practice. So the two of you are trying to get your hands into that optimal position, and that's where most of this neither of you are actually trying to push each other's arm down to begin with. You're just trying to overcome that wrist strength to get to be the one in the optimal position. But then once you're in that position, it's just a very slow, same thing as Sinclair, just tick, 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 tick down. And again, Gilliana pushes Cecil's arm to the table.
Sinclair's just looking so close. It's like, how the hell does she do it?
It's all about the technique.
Stroking his chin beard and that kind of. Yeah.
Do you know what I really want? I really want fan art of Gilliana, but do you know that the World War II propaganda with I forget her name. But the woman in the overalls with the arm out, the
Rosie
guns
the
out.
Riveter. Yeah,
That's the one. Yeah, Rosie the Riveter. I want fan art of Gilliana, but as Rosie the Riveter with her biceps out.
perfect. Twilight's gonna flex her fingers and be like, "All right then, let's go." To
Me
Gilliana.
and you. She's gonna put her elbow on the table.
The Twilight will put her elbow
Wiggle
on
her
the table
fingers.
too. And then be like, "Oh, we got my funny bone."
Okay. Same, Twilight, you can make the roll for athletics or sleight of hand.
Sorry. You go first. I want to blitz your number.
Oh my gosh, I have rolled the same thing every
Oh my God.
single time.
So 24.
24.
You're ready to be beaten. 3.
Okay, but I want to I'll pretend that I'm struggling, and then I'll just.
Do you know what? I like to imagine that Twilight thinks she has this sussed out, but she doesn't know the rules of arm wrestling. So she's looking at this, the other three of you have a go, and then she sets up with you, Gilliana, she puts the one arm up, and then just before she starts, she thinks, "Ha! These suckers have only been using one arm." And as soon as it says go, she reaches up, puts her other hand on top, and starts to pull, but even then, she pulls you down, Gilliana, and then you're like, no. So Twilight's actually on her feet with her both arms, trying to pull you down, and then you just twist over and put her arms on.
And it just KOs.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, it's taking part that counts.
I almost
Why?
had
You guys notice after
Almost had
the one with Sinclair and Gilliana, you guys actually you didn't even really notice, but you formed a crowd. A bunch of people at the other tables have stood up and are watching you. And when the last one finishes with Gilliana and Twilight, even though it was by far the most stupid of all of them, there is a cheer goes up and people are laughing and people are exchanging coin and stuff. You realize that people have been betting on you guys. You do notice eventually Radforth has come back in as well, but he's just sort of stood. He's with you, but he stood back from the table a little bit, leaning against one of the pillars of the tavern.
Is he in okay, where is he in shouting distance?
Oh no, he's at your table. He's just not sitting down. He hasn't come in and been I'll have my seat back. He's just sort of like stood leaning against one of the pillars.
I couldn't
Oh, a
imagine
new
it.
contender.
He just shakes his head and it's like, I think I've been embarrassed enough for the one night, thank you.
I agree. Leave poor Girthquake alone. He's had enough excitement.
She's gonna
At
turn.
which point his three colleagues laugh a lot and he turns red again.
She's gonna turn to Redfork and be like, "Oh, how's your head?"
He closes his eyes, takes a deep breath, and he says, much clearer now, thank you. I just had to get some fresh air.
Good. Well, come sit.
No, if
get
it's
up.
alright with you, I think I'll stand for a bit. I think it helps the circulation. There's a very pointed look at his colleagues when he says circulation.
Okay, if you insist. Well, does anybody want another drink? What is everyone feeling?
Yeah, the dwarf and the gnome like cheer for talking about another drink.
Oh, if they're still up for it, then yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
What was Sinclair going to say?
No, I was more asking over the table. How many drinks have we had by this point?
I think actually at this point I'm going to make the other two are obviously already drunk. You two can make a Constitution check at disadvantage this time. Sorry, Constitution save at disadvantage this time to see if you two have started to get drunk or not. That includes you, Giliana, if you've been drinking as well.
Ooh, dear, oh dear.
oh no. Constitution saving throw.
Ooh,
Yes, please.
Save.
Join the drunk club.
17? Oh no, sorry, 19.
Okay, Sinclair.
12?
I would say at this point, if you guys have, I guess, probably been a couple of hours at this point, and if you've been drinking steadily, like you said, I would say at this point, Sinclair is starting to feel it as well. So you're also going to be making any further checks at disadvantage until you sober up. Giliana, you're all right. You're holding it. Like this is what you used to do for fun. This was like your thing back home, was going out and just getting shit-faced drunk.
I'm like old as well. Like,
Yeah, comparatively.
yeah.
You children.
Yeah.
Twilight's going to switch to water just because everything's starting to swim, but she's still drunk.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can start drinking water if you like. That's perfectly fine. Is there anything else you'd like to do here, or is the rest of the night just going to be devolve into you guys dancing?
I'm going to
Dance.
stage whisper to Giliana, what was the information we wanted?
Sinclair is just going to laugh out loud at that. And that kind of, oh my god.
Yeah, none of the guards. Like, if the guards heard you, they don't care.
Oh, okay.
Like, whenever she says that, there's like no like they're all having conversations and stuff, and like people are talking. They don't seem to show any sort of like, wait, what the fuck sort of reaction to that. They're just continuing. So even if they did hear, you don't think they care.
Okay. It doesn't matter. It's fine. It's all good. Let's just have a good time. And then I'm gonna grab her and we'll go off to the dance floor. And then I'll also grab Radford's hand as well. I'll start dancing.
Yeah,
in the middle
he
of the
resists a
club.
little, but he eventually does follow you up to the dance floor. The night does wind on. Is there anything else you guys would want to do tonight, or is the plan now just to dance until the bar closes and then go to the inn?
I want to start the Macaroni.
Give me a persuasion, or give me a performance check, and then a persuasion check.
Performance check, natural
Yep.
20.
Okay, so you can make your persuasion at advantage.
Yes! Oh my god. Oh, this is so good. Persuasion, 20, not natural.
Okay.
Wow.
You go up to the band, and you say, "Can you play this song?" I'm not going to call it the Macarena.
It's like the bardcore version.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck we would call it in this world, but
Macaroni.
you say, the Macaroni. They don't know the name of the song, so you like start with your performance. You start like humming the tune, and one of them's like, "Oh, I recognize that," and he like taps out the beat, and then he like, hums a bit of the tune, and the rest of them sort of pick it up and they start to play. And it takes a couple of seconds, but they eventually sort of pick up what it is the other one's doing, and then the fiddler takes off. And you start doing the Macarena.
Yeah.
And a few people here, a few of the travelers, because this isn't a local dance. This is a foreign dance, apparently, I've decided. So a few of the travelers, like a few of the people you recognize as being like travelers and not locals, recognize it, and they start doing it with you, and then you start teaching the people around you. And actually, do you know what? Fuck it. the other three of you, you guys make me a fucking history check. See if this is a dance you know. Because he's
Nat
so
one.
disadvantage.
What
'Cause you
check
get-
was this?
A history, and because you've already told me that you didn't do a
Yeah.
lot of dancing, yours is at disadvantage.
4.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a natural 1.
I mean, again, this is just to see if you know the dance. None of you guys know this dance, so Twilight, you get to teach the three of them the macaroni.
Oh my god, incredible. This is the
So-
macaroni. In some places it's called lasagna.
You teach these guys the macaroni. So the three of you can now make me a performance check to see how well you've picked it up.
Come on, guys.
Would we be at disadvantage because of us being drunk as well?
Oh fuck yeah, you're all drunk. You need to make it.
Don't let me down.
I'm
Sorry,
not
Gillian's
drunk.
like, oh, Twilight, I'm going to take a stab in the dark and say, Joe, I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to retcon it. I'm going to guess you didn't make your checks at disadvantage, but I'm not going to retcon it. You did. You rolled well. People are dancing.
No, but I rolled an advantage on my first, so it would be cancelled out on my first roll was
Yes,
natural 20,
that's
so-
fine. Yeah, cool.
So that would be a 16 for me.
16. Oh,
No, go ahead. Gilliana, 16, yeah.
16 for me as well.
Sinclair.
That's an 8.
Sinclair, the alcohol hit you a little bit harder than you were expecting. You're getting it, but you're a step behind everyone else, so when everyone gets to the end...
When does the wooden crate come
macaroni.
into it?
Yeah, when I guess it's like, hey, macaroni, everyone jumps. You're like jumping a half step behind everyone, so there's a nice, like, you know, and everyone's making a nice sound, and then you're like a half step behind them.
Oh my god.
Except Clump, he's so much heavier than everyone else.
Oh yeah, like you jump, and then everyone else jumps a little bit when you hit the ground.
Is Radforth? How am I saying his name right?
Radforth, I think it was Radvorth, but I keep saying it like an F, so I just Radforth.
Radforth. Is Radforth about?
Fuck it, I'll make a roll to see how well he's doing, because you dragged him up to dance. Yeah, he actually rolled pretty well. He rolled a 15
nice.
plus whatever modifier he would have for charisma, so he's doing about as well as Kazisel is. And actually you, because you rolled a 16, like, he's picking this up as well as you are.
Hey.
And yeah, he's dancing next to you.
Yeah. Wow.
And yeah, you guys, you learn the macaroni, you dance into the wee hours of the night. Eventually people start to disperse. Radforth and like his companions start, like, you know, they start to head off. If he goes to leave, do you say anything to him, or does he just like wave and leave and you just let him go?
No, I'm gonna say something to him.
Huh?
I'm not horrible. Christ.
I mean-
Okay.
Actions so far tonight say otherwise, but okay,
Hey,
go on.
you're the one that played him like that. Like, I don't know what I'm meant to work with.
You're the one sat on his lap.
I don't like. I gave him a chance. He wasn't doing anything. It was a one-sided conversation.
Anyway, yeah, he goes to leave, and like, yeah, what do you take him aside and say to him?
I'm gonna say Radforth. Rad. Can I call you Rad?
He's had a few drinks at this point as well. He's like, yeah, I haven't been called that since I was quite young, but yeah, go ahead.
Rad. Thank you for such a great night. I honestly had a brilliant time.
No, thank you. And he does that thing where he like, leans back a little bit too far, then leans forward and he points at you. Thank you. It's been a great night. Most of it has been a great night tonight.
Oh, did you not like some of it?
Most of it's been a great night.
What did you not like?
You see him looking over his shoulder at his colleagues who are like heading towards the door. Yeah, it was a good night. No, but yeah, no, thank you. It was a very lovely night. Thank you.
Wasn't me. It was your colleagues.
Yes.
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 Okay,
No,
well-
you have been lovely. It's thank you for coming to meet me here tonight.
No problem. Well, I feel bad that your colleagues made you feel like you didn't have the best night. So, and I'm just gonna kiss him.
Fuck, I was about to say I was going to make him roll to see if he kissed you or not. Okay, cool.
Oh,
I mean,
Roland see who like pushes me away.
no, I actually rolled a performance check. You got a 16. It's a pretty good kiss.
Well, do
At least, well, I don't know what you're doing, but he was a pretty good kisser.
you want me to do a performance check?
Absolutely. I want to see how
Am
this
I in
goes.
shock? Oh no.
You weren't expecting
okay.
this. Nat 20.
No, I got 19.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good kiss. Like, the rest of you guys look over, and it's one of those ones where, tell me, just because this image in my head is very, very funny, when he starts to get into it, would you do, like, the role reversal thing, and, like, put one hand behind his hip, one hand behind his head, and, like, lean him back? Or would you let him do that to you? All right.
I'll let him do that to me.
He does that to you. Then you guys look over, and he's got like, you know, he's got one hand behind Gilliana's head. He's like leant her back. He's doing like one of those proper like swooning smooches.
Oh my god. Twilight's gonna be like fangirling.
She's in the background as a hype man. Yeah, get him, yeah,
Yeah.
yes, girl, yes, queen.
Throwing glitter around like sparkles.
But yeah, he gives you the kiss. He pulls back. You see him like blinking a few times, and you see him like, I hope that was okay.
Yeah, it was fun. Imagine if someone said that to you. I hope that was okay. I'd be like,
Already proven. I've already played this guy as a really fucking awkward guy who
I
is
literally had such a visceral ick from you just saying that. Like, I was really. Oh god.
I have played him as like a super awkward, super
That's
sheltered.
so funny.
We've already established he has not lain with a woman.
Oh, I know. I didn't think I would react like that.
It's going to be cringe.
I know.
You can tell. Right, so I'll say this much: you can tell that he really enjoyed it, but he doesn't have this experience. He doesn't know if he's a good kisser or not. So he's genuinely worried about whether or not you enjoyed it.
Okay, yeah. So he wants good feedback.
Pretty much.
How do I do this? Okay.
I mean, to be fair, he's literally just looking for he's not looking for you to like give him like pointers. He's literally just like he's just worried that he's worried he did a bad job. Pretty much all I'm saying.
Okay. I don't really. How genuinely would you reply to that? Like, if someone said that
I
to
imagine
you?
it's one of those things like when I think of it if I think of it from like a film perspective, there are scenes like that where one of them pulls back and says like, "I'm sorry, I'm not very good at this," and the other one just sort of leans in and kisses him again. That's the sort of scene I'm picturing.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I was personally trying to recover from the ick, so I was like, how do I even get past that?
Well, I'm glad I was able to put a bit of myself into this character.
Yeah.
To make him so fucking awkward that he made you physically cringe so hard you didn't know how to react.
Yeah. Well, this is good dating tips for people. Don't ever ask.
Don't ask.
Yeah, to all of our listeners out there, this is a public service announcement from ModifedRoll. Never ask, was that okay after you kiss someone?
It's not. No. Oh my god.
Okay.
Okay.
Was that okay? And then... I'm starting to get my own like flush because I'm starting to remember what it was like to be a fucking 16-year-old.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Yeah. Okay, so she's gonna go, was that okay? That was more than okay, and then she'll kiss him again.
And then this time he does that thing where his, like one of his heels kicks up. And you guys hear a little ding.
Twilight's gonna lean round from the side and be like, "You see that, Mergrim? You see that?" And then she's gonna do like the 2 eyes to her fingers, 2 eyes to him.
Mergrim and like the other two are like ear to ear grinning. They're like ribbing each other and pointing over. And like, do you let him go at this point? If he goes to lead, do you like let him go on? Or at this point, are you going to ask him some of the stuff you were planning to, or do you just let him go? Okay,
I'm gonna let him go.
Cool.
If he loves something, let it go.
Whenever you pull back this time, you can see he's a little bit dazed. His eyes are a little bit unfocused. It takes him a second to come to himself. He says, Yes. Yeah.
She's walked off at this point.
He's like, I'll be able to see you again. Yeah, and he pulls the thing where he goes to wave, but you're not looking, so he puts his hand behind his head and scratches his head. Yeah, yeah, okay. And he turns to walk over to his friend, like the three people he came in with, and they're all like, I'm assuming at this point Twilight's still watching him.
Absolutely.
They're all like giving him the elbows, ruffling his hair, and you can tell it's like a bit of like good natured like ribbing. It's like, oh, good job, big man. You know, didn't make a complete fucking fool of yourself this time. And they head out of the door.
Perfect.
Good night, Earthquake.
And then his head drops. There's the name of the episode.
Good night, Earthquake.
Yeah, you guys continue dancing until the band finishes playing, and then you're one of the handful of people, or your group was like one of the handful of people left in the bar. The bartender and the two bartenders are like starting to clean down and stuff. They start turning out some of the lights, and do you guys head back to the inn?
Yes.
Drunkenly.
Yeah, we'll stagger our way home.
Cool.
Holding my shoes.
Well, actually, on the way back, Sinclair will even like offer to like put one of them on his shoulders because he's pretty big and beefy.
Oh my god, Twilight will take that in a second.
Oh, there you go.
I like to imagine that he gets halfway through that and like Twilight is like clambering up his back like a spider monkey. Yeah, you carry them back, and it's just this lovely scene. Like the moon is out; it's not quite full at this point, but it's getting there, and its light shines down on these cobbled streets. There's still the noise of a few of the inns emptying out. There are other people in the streets. You're not alone, but it is a dark and relatively quiet night as the moonlight washes over yourselves in the cobbles, illuminating your way back to the Ember Hearth Inn. You get back. The bar staff or the bartender who was looking after the inn is still up there wiping down from the revelers they've had in at their place tonight, but it is otherwise empty. And they nod and wave as you head up the stairs to your rooms. And do you guys just go straight to bed for the evening? I believe you had 2 rooms, or did you get 1 room between you? I can't remember now.
No, we got 2. It's Sinclair and Kaz, and then the 2 girls in the other room.
Yeah, boys and girls. So you guys, do you head off to your individual rooms, or what do you do tonight?
Yeah, Anna will go to her room. Her and Twilight's room.
Yeah.
Sinclair and Cecil, would you want to like stop and have a word with them, or would you guys head to bed as well? I'm literally just giving you guys the option if there's one last thing you want to say tonight before you go to sleep. That's what all this opportunity is.
I'll probably just drop down on the bed, just completely.
I thought you were going to say
drunk.
drop dead, but I was like,
He just drops dead. I'm sick of this character.
Let's get a new one. Come on.
I've told them too much. We must start again.
No, this is probably the most he's been drunk, and so he is just gonna flop down onto a bed and just pass out as soon as his head hits the pillow.
I will say this much just when you say that, because you do get some, like it does elicit some small memories of your one close friend at the monastery. He was a bit of a troublemaker, and occasionally he would sneak in like a bottle of wine. You do, like as you're lying there, your head's spinning, the room's spinning around you. You think about the fun you've had tonight, and you do remember some fond memories of the past, when the two of you would have shared a bottle of wine while sat overlooking the gardens of the monastery up on the slopes of the mountain. And you sort of recall that gentle warmth as the wine washed over your body. And you feel a contentness and a warmth in this friendship that you've not really felt since he left. What about you, Sinclair? Are you doing anything? Are you going to head to bed as well? Sleep off your
Sinclair
hangover?
will lie in his bed in that kind of, put his arms behind his head, and then he'll sort of start talking to the open room, thinking that Kazizel's awake, but he's probably asleep. It's like, Kaz, when I set off on my journey all that time ago from Hamel, I never thought it would be quite the way it has, but God, it's been a fun ride. Are you listening to me? Yeah, whatever.
And he rolls over and goes to
he's
sleep.
going to sort of, it's like, what was I talking about? And then...
From the next room, it sounds like somebody has fired up a couple of sawmills, but Giliana and Twilight, do you guys just head to bed, or do you have a little conversation or anything? Or I'd imagine Twilight sat cross-legged in the bed, shading in the veiny cocks she was drawing earlier.
Yeah, completely, absolutely, and the large breasts.
Yes, and the gigantic breasts.
Yeah, and she's in like her nightgown with her hair up in like bunches, just like sketching away.
Twilight,
Mm-hmm.
what are you drawing?
Oh my god! Wait! I need you to sit down because you're gonna be.
I thought you were going to say, "I need you to take your top off."
That's later on in the campaign. Because you're gonna be blown away.
I'm gonna be blown away.
Yeah.
You sure?
I think this is my best work. Yeah.
Go on, show me.
And then I'll just turn it around.
Whose are they?
Listen, that's for me to know and you to find out.
Wow. Well, I am looking forward to finding out.
I bet you are. And then she's just going to literally knock out while still sat cross-legged, just fall asleep.
So her head was up while she was talking to you, then her head just slumps forward, and then there's a very gentle... as she's sat cross-legged on the bed. Giliana, being the only one who's not sober, but not blackout drunk, do you just head to bed as well with Twilight snoring next to you?
I don't even just sleep, really, so...
Yeah, you just...
just chilling.
You can look through my sketchbook if you want.
Well, do you know what? I'll say this, because obviously you have been drinking. Do you want to roll me a constitution check to see if this is something you need to sleep off, or if this is something you can just trance through?
Constitution save.
Yes.
15.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Does can I have a look through Twilight's book?
I mean, if you want to, you can start flicking through her book.
I'll flick the book pages.
Right.
What do I find?
I mean, Twilight, you tell us what she finds.
Yeah, so this is a relatively new sketchbook. Started a couple days before she met you guys. So the first few pages are like really random drawings of stuff she sees, like a pigeon or just like adventures of Sir Vincent the Gentleman Thief, who is this very suave-looking thief with a curly mustache. And the exploits, and then you can kind of tell the minute she met you guys because it starts with kind of crude drawings of Giliana, Sinclair, and Cazisel, and then they get better and better, and then there's like depictions of the battle where like Giliana's surrounded by her hot people and like light is shining out of her, and there's one of Sinclair smiting, and it's kind of almost already a love letter to you all, but without really understanding. And then from that, you flip the page to loads of cocks and boobs.
Wow. And then Giliana's just going to be like holding it up at different angles and like holding it to like the window to see if she can get like a little bit of light to see like all the details. She doesn't want to miss anything, obviously. And then she's going to get like, is there a pencil or something? What do they have?
Yeah, well, I would be drawing with it, yeah.
Yeah, she wears like a charcoal pencil, yeah.
She's going to start like drawing just tiny, horrible, like terribly drawn. She can't draw. But like the most basic looking dicks and boobs. Just like little fillers in the corners.
That's a quote.
That's the title, Drawing Tiny Dicks and Boobs. But yeah, you do that for a little bit. You do have to do your trancing, your sleep. So eventually you will have to settle down and stop drawing dicks and boobs. And eventually as the night draws on, the lights in the city wink out, the starlight and the moonlight shining down, you guys do eventually all drift off. Now, Sinclair...
Dream.
Not a dream yet.
Oh.
You just had one of those. Sinclair and Cazisel, can you guys both give me a perception check at disadvantage, please?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, no. An 18.
Ooh, it's not bad.
The other one was a 19.
2.
Cool. Sinclair, you've just fallen asleep, and it's one of those, like, you know, you've had a bit to drink. You're not so drunk that the room, by the time you lie down, the room wasn't spinning, but it's one of those sleeps where when you hit the bed, you're out. Like, it's just no dreams tonight. Your body is done. You're out like a light. You awaken to a burning, horrible sensation in your chest. You try to jolt upright, but there's a pressure holding you to the bed. And you try to breathe in, but your breath catches, and this searing pain in your chest intensifies. And when you open your eyes, you see a cloaked and hooded figure standing over you with a dagger buried in your chest. We're going to roll initiative.
Oh my god, I'm fucking stabbed. Hang on, let me just make a note of that.
Bet you weren't expecting this shit.
Fucking stabbed.
I will roll damage in a second, but for now we're just going to roll initiative to find out what the order is.
We're still drunk, so everything's at disadvantage.
Oh yeah, and all the guys who are drunk are at disadvantage.
Oh fuck! And
do we have to do
fuck.
initiative?
You guys will roll initiative. Obviously, you guys won't act in initiative until something indicates to you that something has happened next door.
No.
I imagine once one of the two of these guys gets a second, they're going to shout. But until then, you two are still asleep.
11.
Okay.
I got a 10.
Ooh,
I rolled 10 as well.
Between
Jesus
you two, I
Christ.
think we did this before. Kaz is the higher dex, doesn't he?
Yes, he should do because he's the monk.
And Twilight.
12.
Ooh.
Not good. I probably later as the cleric.
I know.
Sinclair, you awaken to this pain and this sensation. You take... Oh, that's a lot more dice than I thought it was.
Sounds like a lot.
You take a total of 21 damage.
Oh.
And I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, please.
That's a 21 for the save.
Okay, cool.
Holy shitbags, guys.
Just over the table to the party. I am on 9 hit points.
Yeah. Shit.
Hey, it's not so fun when the rogues...
Oh my god!
It's not so fun when the rogue is on the other foot, is it?
Oh no.
Sneak attack.
Let's die.
You
Oh, fuck.
you feel the burning in your chest. You initially, it's a fucking knife, but you eventually realize there's actually something on the knife, and you realize that it's some sort of poison, but you manage to stave off the effects. But this thing is currently buried in your chest, and unfortunately, it's going to pull back, pull this thing out of you, and it's going to try and stab down again. What is your armor class without armor?
Good question. What does chainmail add?
Oh.
Well, hang on, if I untick that, does it? Aha, I've done it. You can untick it on roll 20.
Cool.
11.
You're lucky because he rolled a 10.
Oh, God.
So as he pulls this out of you, you're no longer pinned to the bed, and you can actually you arch your back in the pain and grit your teeth. And as he goes to plunge it down again, you just about manage to roll to the side, and you've rolled off the bed onto the floor, and this knife stabs into the mattress and the sheets on the bed where you were lying. At which point, it would be Twilight or Anna, but they're still asleep. So, Kaz, who's still asleep, and then Sinclair, what would you like to do? Speech is a free action.
Yeah, Sinclair is he's going to shout at the top of his lungs. Or no, we move a bit away from the mic.
Turn your head away.
Jesus! Can't say Jizz Station doesn't exist.
Hey, Lord. Hey, Lord.
Paylor's light! Somebody help! And he's going to bang on the wall if that's allowed.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, you're hitting a wall. Take that as a free action. And I'm not going to make you guys roll for it, especially Giliana. You're trancing. Like, you have a higher perception when you're trancing. You're not fully asleep. You hear this. Twilight, you hear it. You're a bit groggy, but you hear this. You hear the wall being banged. You hear the shouting. Cecil, you definitely hear it. You guys remember, let's just take a second to appreciate how big Sinclair this is. this isn't like a muffled sound you hear. This is a sound you guys feel when he shouts.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Gilliana's like, ooh.
Falls out of bed.
Wakes up from the dream about Radforth.
So, yeah, with that said, that's free action, Sinclair. What would you like to do for your action on your turn?
All right, because all of my armor and stuff would obviously be in the room. Can I get to my greatsword?
You can absolutely get to your greatsword. I would assume that you'd have it like linked up against the wall or
instantly,
something.
But he's with one hand, he's clutching his wound on his chest, and then he reaches for the greatsword in a mighty swing, and then momentarily takes his hand off of his chest and just swings as hard as he can.
Yeah.
In his drunken stupor.
I should say as well, actually, whenever you went to like breathe into yell out, because he's stabbed in the chest, you actually feel like a bubbling sensation, and you can see little like blood bubbles as you're like breathing in. You're in a lot of pain,
and a slight taste of vomit in the mouth.
Yeah.
Heal.
But you go to attack. Just to remind you, you are still drunk. This is at disadvantage.
Right. Okay. Rolling. Okay. Both are good. What do I add to that? It is. That's 23 to hit.
That was a disadvantage. Christ in a
I rolled
bite.
a 19 and a 17.
Yeah, that hits.
Hey.
That
I can
hits.
hang on.
You don't have to show me. You can.
Okay. Oh fuck! I'll sort the camera out in a minute.
Yeah. Roll damage.
Right, Rossum. Oh fuck! I didn't think we'd be doing this. Right. DA. Right, that's 13 points of slashing damage.
Fuck. Okay.
And
Fuck him up.
as the blade enters the guy, it glows with the power of Palor as Sinclair does a divine smite.
Yeah, Twilight, you don't know what was said next door, but something just made you go, ooh.
Oh.
I sense a euphemism somewhere just took place.
That's extra 6 points of radiant damage.
Okay,
Fuck him
awesome.
up, Sinclair.
So, Gilliana and Twilight, as you're sort of getting up next door, just you heard this yell, you hear a scuffle, you can hear like a sword being drawn and scraped, and then all of a sudden, like out of the window, you see a bright flash of light. And you can tell it's like come from the room next door as it flashes out across the street. Sinclair, what else? Or is that it for your turn?
I do that because that's an action. And the only thing I can do, he's going to sort of move into the corner of the room as far away from him as he can. And I know it's a small room, but he's going to try because he's just been fucking stabbed.
Okay, cool. You actually can't tell very much about the session. They're wearing a deep hooded robe. It's dark in this room. You haven't even been able to make out their face yet. But they flip the dagger in their hand around, grab it by the blade, and throw it at you. Does a... Oh, I know what your armor class is, and that's definitely going to hit. Throws the dagger at you. You've seen the way Gilliana fights. You're pretty sure he's not going to get like a sneak attack with the way they're fighting at the minute because they're not within range of you and they don't have advantage. You are still going to take 9 damage.
He's out cold.
Kaziso, you've just woken up. You woke up just in time to see Sinclair charge across the room with this blade as it erupts into light and cuts into the chest of this person in a robe who's... And actually, no, tell a lie. As your blade lights up, the light washes across this person's face. You can't tell if they're a half-elf or a human, but they're somewhere around there. They appear to be a female with like dark brown, like mousy brown hair tied back, but otherwise fairly nondescript face. And then the sword cuts across their chest, and then you see Sinclair like move back away from him. Actually, I probably should have given him an opportunity attack, but it didn't. Doesn't matter. And he pushes himself back into the room. You then see this person look between you and them, seeing that you're awake. They step backward, flip the dagger around, throw it at Sinclair, and it buries itself up to the hilt in his shoulder, knocking Sinclair against the wall. And you would yell in pain, but you've now got 2 puncture wounds in your chest. You sort of gurgle a little, and he slips down the wall and falls unconscious, at which point this assassin looks at you, back to Sinclair, turns to what you've now realised is the open window, and leaps from the window.
Fuck.
Twilight, what would you like to do?
So I see that Sinclair's down, right?
You're not in the room yet. You're still next door.
Oh,
Like you haven't haven't got out of bed yet.
I'm gonna run into the next room because I can see that shit's going down.
Yeah, you throw open the door of your room, and you're literally just next door. There's a couple of steps to the hall. Burst open through the door, and you arrive just in time to see the tail end of a cloak as it dives through the window. You look to your right, and Kazisil is just scrambling to get out of bed, and to your left, you see Sinclair slumped against the wall, head lolling forward with a dagger in his chest and one dagger in his shoulder and a bleeding wound in the center of his chest that's bubbling as he tries to breathe.
Twilight's gonna run over in her nighty and bloomers, and I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds at 2nd level.
Okay, cool. What does it look like whenever you cast this? Actually, something I've not asked for. What does Sinclair feel as well when you cast this healing spell on him? Bear in mind, he is currently unconscious.
Okay, so 1 second. So as she runs over, she kind of, because with her offensive magic, it's a lot more like pushing forward. With this, she kind of pulls around from the air around her, and it almost is like an aura of a galaxy surrounds her hands. And then she pushes it into his chest, and he would feel like pins and needles are like prickling through his body, and almost like how you imagine Starlight would feel, like a tickle but also a little bit painful. And it just spreads all through his body, like tip of his head down to his fingers, all through his toes. And she's gonna just breathe out, and then the light will like dim.
So as you do this, you reach out, you pull your hand through the air, and it's literally where your fingers like trace through the air, almost like running your hand through still water. The ripples it leaves like form into these swirling galaxies and dark navies and blacks and purples as they wisp around your fingers, and starlight suddenly begins to appear throughout them. And as you pull it together, it forms like a little nebula around your hand. You throw it towards his chest, and the starlight dances over his body as this aurora washes over him. And where it touches the wounds, the starlight almost traces along the wound, and where it touches it, pulls the flesh back together and knits it closed. When it hits the dagger, it almost forces the dagger out of the wound as the flesh behind it begins to seal up and stop the bleeding. And it all washes over, and Sinclair, you feel this pins and needles sensation, this twinkling starlight wash over your body, and you come back to consciousness.
And you heal 19 points.
Damn!
I rolled almost the max. And as you come, if you see Twilight's face as you come round, there's almost like little stars in her eyes that are just slowly dimming.
I like that. But is that the end of your turn, Twilight?
Yeah, she's gonna be like, what the fuck happened?
Sinclair, do you say anything as you come to consciousness?
Oh, God.
Are you
okay, moving on.
Now that's the power of a cleric.
So, just before I take us out of initiative, Gilliana, obviously you're still next door. You don't know this assassin's gone out the window. Either you end combat there, or we pull us out of initiative, or you guys try and chase the assassin. What do you want to do?
I was gonna say, can I yell to Gilliana and say, he's gone out the window?
Absolutely, you can.
Fuck yes, I was really hoping that you would say that. Holy shit. I was like, someone tell me what happened!
Because you're in the other room, so you could jump out that window.
Yeah.
Gilliana, with that, it is your turn. You've like seen Twilight has pulled open the door, and you've gone to like follow her until she shouts this. What do you do when she shouts this?
Grab my short sword.
Yep.
And jump out the window after her.
Cool. So just bear in mind, you're not in your armor either.
Fuck. Wait. Can I grab my armor?
Right. Putting armor on leather armor takes a minute. And you cannot do it while you're running.
And now, fuck it, let's just try. No, okay, we'll go with that. I don't care. Let's jump out the window after her.
Go monk style. You copy me for once.
Unencumbered.
So you run to your
what do I need
window.
to take off?
Yeah, you run to the window and give me a perception check.
Oh shit. Where's my perception?
Under wisdom.
15.
Okay, perfect. You get to the window just in time to see this cloaked figure dip around the corner of the inn, heading further into the city. So you can see what direction they're going, but you've only just seen the tail end of their cloak.
Okay, can I try and follow?
Absolutely, if you like.
Yeah. You thought we were going to let her go?
Actually, do you know what? No, actually, no. Do you know what? Fuck it. As you leap out of the window, you use your roguish expertise to soften your landing. You land on the cobblestones, and you get up, and you begin to follow the pitter-patter of footsteps as they round the corner. Cecil, you've just seen Twilight run in to heal up Sinclair. What would you do?
I also caught the tail end of him jumping out.
Yes, you saw them go out the window, and you've heard the window next door open, and then and then feet running.
And with that, I'm just gonna, with a quick pickup of my hand axe, I'm gonna go out the window myself as well.
Cool. Using your monkish expertise, you leap out the window and land just a step behind Giliana. You both look at each other, nod, and you set off directly after Giliana, following her in the knowledge that she knows where she's going. And as you two begin pounding your way down the cobblestone streets, rounding the corner, you see this cloaked figure running down the middle of the street. It looks over its shoulder once, sees you, and dips into an alley as you set off in pursuit. Back in the room of the inn, Sinclair, you're catching your breath. Twilight, you're looking over her. The two of you look over to the window, and that's where we're going to end the session.
No!
No!
Well, that's it for another episode. Thanks for sticking with us. As usual, I'd like to thank Lixie B and Jeff for the wonderful logo and character art they created for us, the Stormweather Zombie Choir for letting us use their song Drunken Sailor as our theme tune, DN Dice for sponsoring us, and all of our wonderful Patreon supporters who have been helping us out. Before we jump into the recommended podcast this week, I just want to say a massive thank you to Seraphim, our newest Patreon supporter. We cannot thank you and the rest of our Patreon supporters enough, because you're allowing us to do a lot more than what we originally thought we could. And we just hope that you're continuing to enjoy the podcast with your support. That said, we do have a few pieces going up on the Patreon, or that have gone up recently. With this episode release, there should be a debrief session going up, either the same day as release or at some point this weekend. And we've been adding a few more pieces which are free to anyone. You do not have to be a Patreon supporter to be able to listen to these, but these are interviews I've done with other members of the UK podcasting community. The first one of these from the most recent batch, I believe I mentioned in the last episode, but this was Josh from the Dice and the Slice podcast. And I've since put up another one with Adam from These Flimsy Rituals, but his interview was a little bit different because we were specifically talking about the game they're releasing, which is based on the one that they modified for the podcast called Rhine. If you want some more information on that, please go have a look at our Patreon. Like I said, the interview is free for everyone, and the game seems super interesting, and I do fully intend to back it when it goes live on Indiegogo, so I really recommend going to listen to that. That said, our recommended podcast this week is Dice in a Slice. As I said to Josh in the interview, I had these guys on my list to listen to for a very long time. Unfortunately, their first couple of episodes were 2 hours long. But in preparation for our chat, I decided to buckle down and work through them, and I really do enjoy them. They are a fantastic podcast in a homebrew world with a pirate-themed campaign, and it so far has been a very fun listen. I'm on episode 3 now, just from having powered through those so we could have our interview, and I'm fully intending to listen to the rest of the episodes. They do drop down to about an hour or so, I believe, per episode after the first few, once they get sort of set up and running. But honestly, the world, it seems so interesting, and now having had that conversation with Josh, it's given me a much better appreciation for it, and it's made me really excited to listen to the rest of them. So I really recommend going and listening to that interview on the Patreon. Again, it is free, and then giving their podcast a try. But that's it for now. Thanks very much for sticking with us, and we'll see you soon.